Welcome to the monthly Retro Game Review, where I'll be attempting to give you all the latest news in the world of the old. We start with a follow-up story from last month's episode, with the news that the Turbo Everdrive, a cart that allows you to play game ROMs on the system, has been released. You can see it working here, and you can buy it by clicking on the relevant link in the description box below. A sequel-cum-remake of classic DOS 2D platformer Jetpack has also been announced this month, and most of the groundwork has already been done. The game is a beefed-up version of the original, with several new stages and a fully featured level editor. There is one catch though. A little more funding is needed to get the project finished, so the developer, who was behind the original Jetpack, is asking for funds through the online begging portal that is Kickstarter. You can donate, if you so wish, by using the necessary link in this video's description. The game is planned to be released by the end of the year, and will be available on PC, Mac and Linux. Next up, in this month's Games That Never Saw a Release segment, comes Falcon on the SNES. An impressively in-depth flight simulator title, the game was talked about in SNES and Mega Drive magazines back in the day, but never made it onto shop shelves. A ROM was recently found, however, with a link to it being in, you guessed it, this video's description. I bet you sometimes look at your Jaguar and think, I wish they'd release some games on it again. What's that? You don't? Well, it looks like there's a new physical release for the system coming later this year anyway, in the form of old Amiga title Another World. It is based on the 15th anniversary edition, released for the PCs at least. Shown at JagFest way back in 2010, as you can see here, the game is finally getting a physical release. Developer The Removers are currently running an online survey to see how many copies they need to make, which you can find a link to below. The 3DS's eShop has seen two virtual console releases this month as well, and they're both games worth revisiting. First is Kirby's Pinball Land, which is a cutesy but much harder than you might expect pinball sim. It may not have as much bite as Revenge of the Gator, another pinball game developed by HAL for the Game Boy, but it's still a cute and well-assembled delight. Second comes Wario Land 2 for the Game Boy Color, which is still as tightly designed and amusingly presented as it was back in the late 90s when it was released. If you haven't played it, do so now. A less well-known title also made its way onto the portable system scene this month in the form of Neo Geo 2D shooter Blazing Star on iOS and Android. The original ROM weighed in at a hefty 346 megabytes, but that has been shrunk down to under a sixth of that for this new mobile version. The $1.99 cost is a fair bit less than what you would have paid for a physical copy back in 1998 as well. Finally, have you ever wanted to play mobile gaming phenomenon Angry Birds on a 16-bit system? If the answer is no, then congratulations, you're perfectly sane. If not though, you can play through the bird-flinging title through a Mega Drive emulator, with the touchscreen controls replaced with a cursor system and the physics engine replaced by... well, there doesn't seem to be a physics engine present actually. Want to experience it for yourself? Click on the relevant link below. That's all for this time then, but please do join me for next month's Retro Game Review, where I'll be summarising all that's new in the world of the old.
Now bear my Arctic blast!